Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble Priestess event guide, I'm going to take another look at Bloodmage Thalnos on Mythic difficulty. I already showcased one comp for doing this, which was an Isera comp with Whelp, X and Quillbore, which I still think is a pretty good strategy for this one. But I have been trying to find something easier, something even more consistent. And I've come to the conclusion that I really don't see myself going into a long fight against Thalnos, which means that your opening hand is always going to matter somewhat. But in this one I have what I think is the easiest way to do Thalnos, and as a bonus one really fun way that is not nearly as repeatable, so maybe not for you. Anyway, the easiest way to take out Mythic Thalnos is with Cenarius. So in this team I have Cenarius with the Treant talent, then I have Cheat Death with Vampirism, so giving lifesteal. I have a Banshee, I have a Batrider, I have Harpies, then I have Fire Elemental, and then I have an Eclipse. The idea here being that you need to manipulate your opening hand. Either you can win a lower difficulty, so it rerolls the seed, or you can rearrange the army slots to match whatever it has randomized for you, although note that you cannot change the position of the leader. So you need to get Cenarius and you need to get Fire Elemental very early, because you're sending Cenarius and Fire Elemental up the left side where all the Banshees are, where all the chests are. And Cenarius and Fire Elemental can kill all of the Banshees and take the chests for you. Sometimes you don't get all of the chests, because sometimes there's something like Spiderlings coming down that lane or something. But you should be able to get at least the first chest, and then you should be able to kill whatever comes across you and then go all the way to the end. And the idea here being that Fire Elemental is resistant, and Fire Elemental is going to be able to deal massive damage to Thalnos. It's almost able to solo Thalnos, depends a little bit on the levels. You have the Cheat Death with Vampirism. You want to use Cheat Death when Fire Elemental gets low. That can be at phase change, that can be a great time to use it, but it can also be at another time. When you just notice the Fire Elemental is starting to get low, you need to use Cheat Death. Then there's the problem of the respawning Banshees, because once your army is at Thalnos, then unless you get quite lucky with what Cenarius is going to target, sometimes you can get into a position where there's footmen coming and Cenarius keeps shooting at the footmen, and then Cenarius will switch targets and at least try to shoot at the Banshee. But more often than that, I noticed that my Cenarius tended to get stolen, so I ended up using Eclipse here. And the sole purpose of Eclipse here is that I'm going to play one Cenarius, which will turn this into Sunfire, and Sunfire is enough to kill a Banshee, so I'm going to just Sunfire down the Banshee when it respawns so that it doesn't steal my Cenarius. And the other minis are here for defense, so I have Banshee, that's obviously for stealing the Abominations. You just try to position it so that it doesn't get hooked. So position it when Abomination is committed. It has walked all the way to your base, for example, and it's committed to your base, and then you position it behind it or in the area where Abomination's arc doesn't reach, and then the Banshee is going to steal the Abomination for you. And it's going to tank for you and will also protect your Batrider and your Harpies. You can also play Batrider and Harpies anytime when the casters are committed. So let's say there's Abomination with an Ogre Mage coming, then as soon as the Ogre Mage starts shooting, then you can already commit stuff on it. I would have actually used Dire Batlings here, I think, instead of Harpies, because they're a little bit cheaper with Soundbite, so that works really well in this map. But then I wouldn't have had 3 epics, because I didn't happen to have those as epics, and I only have 3 epics here, so that limited my options a little bit. Anyway, watch to the end to see a really fun way to kill Thalnos, although maybe not as repeatable. And let's go check out 2 kills with this comp in action. So let's go Mythic Thalnos with Cenarius and Fire Elemental. Cenarius and Fire Elemental are in my opening hand. And then I just wait for some gold. Cenarius and Fire Elemental in front of Cenarius. And now we have the deadly duo that's going to just walk across and kill stuff and summon treants while they do so. And those treants are also important because they also, Banshees are going to steal some of those. So here we had Spiderlings coming against me, which meant that I could only get 1 chest, but that should be fine. I was able to use the Banshee to defend, and then I'm dropping some Harpies and Batrider to help the Abomination. Doesn't help that much, and off we go to the races. Because my Cenarius is quite low, I'm also sending the Priestess up the left lane. And I'm sending that Kobold just as a sacrificial lamb. I think it might get possessed, but we'll see what happens. Now an Abomination also spawns on my way. So we had Spiderlings coming the left lane, we have Abomination up top, So we don't really have the good stuff here. Anyway, now Fire Elemental is getting low, which means that I would need to use a cheat death, and I realized that at the very last moment. But here we go with the cheat death. Alright, Fire Elemental is alive, we managed to handle the Abomination, that's good. And then I just need to be wary of when the Banshee will spawn, so that I can kill that Banshee before it steals my Cenarius. If my Cenarius was level 27 here, which is the level of the enemies, then Cenarius would have been able to kill the Banshee. But 25, then the Cenarius would have gotten stolen. And now a little bit more, just a little bit more, a tiny bit more, and we barely managed to do this, but that was against a pretty tough opposition. So let's do that again. This time I didn't originally have Fire Elemental in my opening hand, so I manipulated my opening hand a little bit in order to get that Fire Elemental there. And here we go again. Fire Elemental in front, Cenarius in the back, and I'm also sending the Priestess because my Cenarius is a little bit low here. So here we go, this team should be able to handle everything properly. Now I have an Ogre Mage and Abomination, so I need to wait. Abomination commits. Now is my window of opportunity. I get to steal it with the Banshee. Wonderful. And then hurry. Let's drop some stuff. Oh, I messed up a little bit over there. I thought the Ogre Mage had committed on the Abomination, but it actually killed my Harpies. So that was bad. But as an upside, this time there was no stuff coming from the left lane, which meant that I managed to get all the chests. So this time I had a huge gold advantage compared to that last time. And that just shows like the flexibility of doing it this way. Here we go. Now we have a nice group over there. I really don't want to play another Cenarius because I don't want that Eclipse to turn back into Moonfire. I want it to remain Sunfire. There, I waited a little bit for the... I also messed up that Banshee. Waited a little bit for the frost damage to go away. Now is a good time to cheat that because there's going to be another explosion. And then using that Eclipse so that my Cenarius doesn't get stolen. And this time no opposition from the left lane, so even easier kill. And I promised you a fun kill of Thalnos, and that fun kill is this Sylvanas kill. So Sylvanas and Darkspear Troll, together they can go all the way up the lane. And when you use Quillbore to tank Thalnos, and then you use Cheat Death at the phase change, then these 4 minis will push the first 2 phases. So then my question was, okay, what do I do with the remaining phase? I'm using Dire Battlings and I'm using Batrider to defend, and I found that if I play Dire Battlings so that they die to the last phase change, the freeze effect and the explosion, then Thalnos is going to summon a whole bunch of skeletons, and then I can just living bomb Thalnos away. And that way you can kill Thalnos with Sylvanas in a single push. Okay, maybe not super repeatable. Some people are using like ranged talent of Sylvanas, try to get it to shoot at Thalnos from further away, outside of Thalnos' aggro range, but there are so many things that messed it up that I just don't like that strategy particularly. But this is what living bombing Thalnos looks like in action. And then this Sylvanas kill. I actually ended up going with this. I was just trying out various things with Sylvanas because Sylvanas is pretty strong against this boss. And then I noticed that, okay, those phases, they're really rolling by. And I got to phase 3 pretty easily, and I figured, hey, this might be something, this might actually be really easy. Let's try to do this. Now notice the Ogre Mage and the Abomination. Ogre Mage commits. I'm starting to put stuff out there to kill it. Okay, so I got to phase 3 quite easily. But then I just couldn't figure out how do I get to the end? How do I? And I tried all sorts of stuff. I tried whelps and executes and various things. But Thalnos also resets Plague Farmers. Thalnos also resets poison at phase changes. So the best I could do was I could get the first 2 phases with Sylvanas and Troll, and I could get them very reliably. But getting to the last phase, here, Battlings just in time, lots of skeletons because of Battlings, Living Bomb, and Thalnos dies. So that was the key, but that requires quite a few things to go right. So, well, it's one way, I guess. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.